good? What's good? How y'all doing? Yeah, I see you out there, Sean. Real deal. I see y'all out there. Appreciate y'all coming through. Hope y'all having a good week. It's almost the weekend, man. It's almost the weekend. It's almost over. Well, my weekend's almost over. I go back to work Saturday, so but I hope y'all having a good day. Hope y'all didn't get too much of this rain that came through here today. Hope it didn't get y'all too. Yeah, man. Anybody pick up anything new? I got some new stuff. I got two, two new ones. That's right. That's right. As I recording today, as a matter of fact, me and Ben Wiggy. What's up, M3K Tactical? Jason Ewing, like usual. One Ewing, another one's close by. What's up, Coy? What's good with you, homie? Yeah, man. What you got new, Coy? You always getting something new. You kind of sneaky with yours stuff. You don't tell nobody. You just pop up with some new random stuff. Much love to you too, Jason. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Glad y'all came through. Got some dope guests tonight, y'all. Got some dope guests. You have a new SBR. Congratulations, real deal. You are now officially on the radar. Good job. Yeah, man. I got a new toy too. My new toy, it really got me on the radar. I can't do nothing. I've been playing with that thing for a couple of weeks now. Can't go nowhere. Can't do nothing. They all over me, man. They watching me like that bad kid that gets in trouble all the time in school and his parents be watching. I see you. You know, every time I move. Yeah, man. See, Coy, he dodging that question. He don't want to answer. I know he got something new. He always got something. He gonna send it to me, though. He gonna let me have it this time. If he don't, I'm just gonna take it when we get to Georgia. And we got a meet up here in a few weeks. We got a meet up. If you want to keep your guns, do not bring them to the armament booth. Just come over there and shoot my guns. And just shoot my guns. Don't bring your guns over there, because I'm gonna keep your guns and take my guns home. That's how that's gonna work. Hope y'all ready for the night. Hope you got your questions ready, because y'all always got questions. And this is the perfect people to ask questions to. One of them, he kind of like a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? He kind of celebrity. I don't want to be on the business end of his AR neither. He's not playing. Don't even try and run. What's the point of running? He gonna be barefooted, barring people in their cars to come chase your ass. You ain't gonna go nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. What's up? You know what? Matter of fact, we're gonna go ahead and bring these people in here. We're gonna go. Do we go age before beauty, or do we go beautiful before age? Let me see. Hold on. We're gonna bring in a celebrity. Then we'll bring in a little young dude. How about that?
How's it going?
How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Great.
Good. Well, why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
My name is Stephen Willeford. I am a national spokesperson and industry liaison for GOA.
And I'm Jordan Stein. I'm the Southeast Region Director for GOA.
All right. So both y'all basically travel around the country, go to all these different events. That's how I met y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Was at an event. I met him at the gathering, and me and Black Rambo. It was me, Black Rambo. What's that big dude name? OB. Life with OB. We all ran up on him and had him surrounded, and he was telling us his story. Now, it was pretty awesome, man. So I had to get him on here for y'all. And then my man here, he was over here. He was selling GOA like he was a used car salesman. He had that thing down pat. So they out here fighting for our rights.
Rock star.
Jordan the rock star. Yeah,
well,
man. GOA
we just love sharing the message of GOA, because we are no compromise when it comes to the Second Amendment. You know, we actually believe that shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. I mean, what a revolutionary concept, right? But we live it. You know, that's what we're all about. So if you catch us at events, it's a great time to get a discounted like $5, and you get a whole bunch of swag to go with it. So I love meeting people at events and engaging with our members. So
Yeah, man, you get some nice patches from them, man. They give away good patches. You see, I got patches back there. The one Saber puppy, I got all that.
Yeah, that puppy patch goes quickly and is by far our favorite, our best-selling patch. It has a cute little puppy on it, and it says "Abolish the ATF and save a pup." It's just very popular patch.
Yeah, man. I didn't know that was for sale. I didn't pay for mine.
Well, no, they're really not for sale. I guess they may be if you get go online, but if you go to an event, we give them away. And
Yeah.
they fly off real quickly too. That is absolutely the one that everybody asked for, and you better get it in the front part of the event because they're going to be gone before the first day.
Yeah, those things are moving quick. What's going on, Leon? Got my little brother Leon in here. But yeah, man. So, how did you get involved with GOA, Jordan?
Oh boy, that it's getting to be a longer and longer story now. I've worked for GOA for almost 8 years next month, so it's been a while. But I was at college at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I had started a gun rights club, a Second Amendment club. And if you're not familiar with Liberty, it's a Christian school. It's conservative, but there wasn't a gun rights organization there. Those like college Republicans and stuff. But I wanted to do something purely for guns, the Second Amendment. So I started my club, and I had reached out to various Second Amendment organizations, and you can think of who I reached out to. And I heard back from pretty much one, and that was GOA. And Eric Pratt, who's now our senior vice president, I had him down to Liberty, and he spoke to my club. And I guess they liked what they saw because that following summer I interned for GOA, and I've been working for him forever since. So it'll, like I said, it'll be 8 years in May since I started as an intern, and you know, I just think back at my time with GOA, it's grown immensely. When we started, we were a mom and pop shop. There were just a few of us in the office, and now we got people all around the country. We're blessed to have people like Steven on board doing what he does, and we are a lean, mean gun rights fighting machine. I tell you what. So it's incredible to see the growth we've done over the years.
Yeah, I love seeing how, even though y'all are a smaller organization than some of the other organizations out there, y'all are all over the country fighting. Y'all are fighting cases everywhere. And y'all are like some savages, man. Y'all go in swinging. Y'all don't be playing. But at the same time, they trying to fight back too. But y'all need support, to keep that fight going because y'all got to pay attorney fees and stuff like that as well. So membership is very important. I know when we were at the gathering, the deal y'all had going was $25 for an annual membership or something like that.
So at events, we discount it to 20, but typically our annual membership is 25 for the year. If you go to gunowners.org, you can sign up there to become a member.
Okay.
And we also have a Patriot membership, which is a monthly donation, and we have a life membership, which is $1,000. Or at an event, you can sign up and save $100, and it'd be a $900 for signing up actually at an event.
Okay.
And that would be a life membership.
Okay. Now, how did you get involved with GOA, Stephen?
Well, I've been a firearms instructor. I've been a collector. I've been a shooting coach for a very long time. I taught a young lady that set national collegiate record for women's shooting a 45 with one hand at 50 yards. I coached and I taught her how to shoot. So I've always been active in the shooting community, and I've always spoken out. But my voice didn't really matter until November 5th, 2017. A madman came into First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, and started shooting through the walls and the windows of a 100-year-old church. And then worked his way through the front doors and in. and he started shooting people from one pew to another. And my daughter made me aware of what was going on. I was at my home, relaxing in bed, checking my messages and stuff. I chose not to go to church that day because I was going to start an on-call at the hospital where I worked as a maintenance plumber
Okay.
on the next day, on Monday. And
Okay.
I was going to be working anywhere between 20 to 30 extra hours that week, all during the night, and I knew I needed to catch up on some rest and stuff and get ready for my week. And so I stayed home from church that day. My daughter came running in and made me aware of what was going on. I grabbed an AR-15 out of my safe, a magazine, and a handful of ammunition, loaded it, called my wife as I was loading, and I said, I told her, stay where you're at. And she said, what's going on? And she was helping my other daughter build a house.
Mhm.
Since we didn't go to church that day, she was going to help my younger daughter build the house that we were working on. And my wife was taping and floating walls that day. And so she was 5 miles away. And so she made me aware of it. I ran across the street with an AR-15 in my hands, and I just 8 rounds of ammunition. And as I got halfway across the street, I yelled out. And I can't explain why I yelled out, except I'm a Christian, and I believe that God called the demon out of that church.
Right.
In the church, he had just shot Chris Workman in the back, paralyzing Chris from waist down, and he shot Chris's mother through the breast.
Mm.
And he was walking over and he was pointing the pistol right at Chris's head. Chris said, I just thought I was going to meet Jesus, and I heard you yell. And so if you can imagine all the mayhem that was going on, the gunshots and screams and everything else, they heard me yell as I ran across the street. And he heard me yell. He had the pistol pointed at Chris's head. And Chris said, when I yelled, he stopped and he turned around and he came out shooting at me. Had on Class 3 body armor, a ballistic bulletproof helmet. He came out of the church and he started shooting at me. I ran behind a truck, a pickup truck, hit the truck in front of me, shattered the windshield of the car behind me. He hit the house behind me. I came up over the hood of the truck and I hit him in the left chest. I hit him in the abdomen. And then he ran for his vehicle, which was parked in the middle of the street with the driver's side door open and the engine running. And when he turned to his side, I put one high in his side, and I put one high in his legs. He was still able to get into his vehicle. The one in the chest and the one in the abdomen was stopped by the body armor. The one in the side was between the plates. And he didn't have any protection on his legs, and I hit him in the legs. He got in his vehicle. He put the pistol to the window, and he pulled off 2 more shots, and I saw the glass open up and falling. I put one where I perceived his head to be. It split across his forehead, right underneath the rim of the helmet. He accelerated. He turned the corner, and he was running as fast as he could. By the time I got in the middle of the street, he was about 150 yards away. I put one through the back windshield. It shattered the back windshield, went through the driver's side seat, and it hit him right at the left shoulder blade. He topped the hill and out of sight, and I'm standing in the middle of the street saying, it can't end this way.
Right.
And I looked off to my left, and there was a pickup stopped at the stop sign. And I ran over and I tapped on the window and said, that guy just shot up the Baptist church and we have to stop him. I'd never met this man before in my life. And he was sitting at the stop sign. He was on the phone to dispatch. And any sane man in this world would have just driven on and left me at the stop sign. Instead, this is Texas we're talking about. We're not known for sanity. So I heard the locks come open on the doors. I climbed up in the cab of a Texan with a Western hat on, white Western hat, big feathers sticking out of the hat, had a toothpick hanging in his mouth. He has a longhorn skull tattooed in the middle of his neck, and the horns run up underneath his ears. It looks like a cartoon. Looks like a cartoon of Texas, you know.
He was ready for that smoke.
And so I jumped in the cab of the truck, and we chased the shooter 11.6 miles.
Okay.
And in the end, the shooter tucked the pistol up underneath his bulletproof helmet and pulled the trigger.
Oh, wow.
And
my man Tappy in production said, why didn't you have the mags loaded already in your safe?
Well, and that's time that I will regret. That's 91 seconds because I timed it. That's 91 seconds that I'll never get back. But I was burglarized about 5 years before this, and the burglar got the only gun that I had outside my safe. And for 2.5 months straight, before they caught that burglar, what I feared most is coming home to my house and that burglar be in my home, this time with my pistol. And so I made a habit of unloading everything and putting it in the safe.
Okay.
And I regret that now. But after being burglarized, it was a real concern that my family could come home and the shooter be in my house, you know, the burglar be in my house with my gun.
Right.
You know.
And that's understandable. But I think most people like myself, I think about situations like that too. But I stay armed all the time. If my eyes are open, I got something on me. I laugh. People laugh at me when I tell them this, but I literally put my gun on before I put my shoes on.
Well, and I agree with that too, except working at a major metropolitan hospital, I didn't have that option.
I couldn't leave it in a car?
Couldn't carry at work.
Gotcha. Let's see. I'm also a firm believer in self-preservation. So, and I'm a firm believer in what you don't know, you don't know.
Well, and being a plumber, laying on the floor under sinks and stuff, repairing sinks and things like that, there's no way to carry a gun properly that you wouldn't be seen with it.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing with the leave it in the car.
And yeah.
I never travel without one. I've got something on me.
Well, I get it. And now I tell people, they ask me if I'm carrying, I look down, I say, I got pants on. So I guess that.
You know, one of the great things about working at GOA is we are all gun guys. Like we live a Second Amendment lifestyle. I can't show you all these guns that I have in this room because of YouTube, but I'm looking around and there's lots of guns here and some of them are loaded, and you know, you don't want to come up to my house unannounced. That's not going to be in well for you. You know, but we carry guns, we own guns, we shoot recreationally, we hunt, guns are part of our lifestyle. You know, it's just not theoretical for GOA. We live it.
And what is that sign that I saw? That locked door you just kicked in was for your protection.
That's right.
Yeah. Let me give a shout out right quick to some folks. I got my little brother Leon slid in on us. Norwood Alderman, G23, Tap In Productions, Flying Rich in the building. And then we got Christine White. Nightbot finally decided to come to work. He took like 3 weeks off. He finally showed up to work. And then my man, a regular gun guy, is in here. So if y'all don't know who a regular gun guy is, so this shirt right here, it says a regular meetup. That's an annual event. As a matter of fact, it's coming up in June. So it's a bunch of YouTubers, supporters. We all get together, have a big range day. Last year was the first annual regular GunTuber Awards. So this year will be the second one. So, but this year we're having a concert after the awards, and there's also going to be an after party after the concert. So this event is going to be different. There's a women's conference this year. Twister's the one performing the concert. So it's going to be a fun time. At the range, we got different vendors that'll be there, different sponsors that got booths or whatever, and they'll be set up out there. So if y'all want to participate, let me know. I'll put you in touch with regular gun guy, and we can get y'all out there as well. Because
Yeah,
it's
that'd be something we'd love to be interested in. What and send me the details. But where is it exactly?
it's going to be in Thomasville, Georgia.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's going to
Awesome.
be a Father's
Your
Day weekend.
territory.
Okay.
I was telling Jordan that's your territory.
Yeah, that's one of my states. So yeah, that would be where I'd probably be your man there. So yeah, I'd love to get the details and information and see if we can get down there.
All right, yeah, we'll make it happen, man. I'll get that information to you tonight before we get off and everything. Got I'm Not From This Planet just showed up. That's my man right there. I think y'all met him at the gathering. He was there as well.
Yeah.
Real little bitty guy, real hyper. Yeah, he's like a little chihuahua bouncing around all over the place. Yeah, he was there. But yeah, we Javadas. I forgot to say what's up to my man Javadas. He got caught up between Fine, Rich, and Christine. But if you got a channel and you in the chat, 357 fam, no spaces in the chat, it'll drop your link. But back to you guys. So where's the furthest that you all travel? I know you cover the Southeast. Do you ever have to go to the West Coast or anywhere like that? Because they need help bad.
So I'm the regional director for the Southeast, and we have 4 regional directors. And in many states, we also have state directors as well. Mm-hmm. So, like for example, North Carolina, we have a state director. You know, and man, he has been burning up the road, driving all around the state. You know, we just had a big victory in North Carolina where we repealed a 104-year-old Jim Crow era law that was just a redundant pistol purchase permitting system, and we got it repealed by veto override in dramatic fashion. And Andy Stevens, our North Carolina director, was very influential and did a lot of work to pass that. But that's kind of how we're set up in the States. So, but yeah, we have coverage everywhere in all 50 states. And I know Steven, he goes everywhere. He doesn't have any limitations. So he goes all around the country. So
yeah, I'm the national spokesperson. So, you know, and I do a lot of work here in Texas, you know, because I'm from Texas and it's easy for me to make those events. But, you know, man, my next event is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. We're doing CanCon in Phoenix, Arizona. And so that's going to be a big event. We're looking at probably 8 to 10,000 people at CanCon. Or better even, you know, and y'all come to Phoenix, Arizona and see us in CanCon. And then I've got an event coming up in GunCon in Iowa. I'm going to be there. I'm going to Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. I'm going back to North Carolina soon. Come and see Jordan. So we you know, I travel all over the place and doing so Texas, our 2A day at the Capitol is coming up, and we got Ted Nugent as our keynote speaker. Okay. So Ted Nugent is a big gun guy.
Yeah. Now, with all the cases going on around the country, are you all like assisting in those cases as well, in all those cases, or do y'all just have certain ones that y'all
we've been fighting the Prop 114. We were the one that got the injunction on Prop 114 in Oregon. You're talking about that West Coast stuff that's going on?
Yeah, all the West Coast stuff, the stuff in Washington.
Yeah, we're deeply in that. We're fighting the assault weapons ban. Mm-hmm. In Illinois right now. We got the red flag law in New York overturned, said it was unconstitutional. The commonplace ban where in Illinois where they say that, no, it was New Jersey, commonplaces in New Jersey, where they said that you couldn't carry with your permit in any common place, which would be any public area. owned by the state or whatever. You couldn't carry. And so we've been fighting that. We've been fighting the pistol ban. We've been fighting the where they're delaying 18 to 20-year-olds from getting guns. We've found the litigants, and we're supporting those, and we're suing for that. Here in Texas, I just found out that one of the bills that we're pushing to get through is a short-barreled rifle ban that we're fighting, and we're trying to get that off the NFA list. We're trying to first get it in Texas. Like, we have the Suppressor Freedom Act in Texas, which means that any suppressor built in the state of Texas does not go outside the state of Texas, can't be banned, confiscated, or regulated. And so we've already passed that, and I know Tennessee did that also. But we are getting with our state attorney general, Ken Paxton, and we're pushing that and fighting that all the way to the Supreme Court to make sure it stands.
So I know we were talking earlier backstage. You were talking about this new bill that Governor Lee, or it's a executive order, he's supposed to be signing with the red flag laws. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I think the link to our alert has been posted in the chat, but Bill Lee has truly been a disappointment after the Nashville shooting at the Covenant School, and look, my heart breaks for the loss of those kids and those teachers, but sadly it was a gun-free zone, and there was no good person there to shoot back and to put down the threat, and instead of calling for what is really common sense stuff like arming willing teachers or pushing for even more freedom to carry a gun, Governor Lee has been quite lousy, and I'm calling him Lousy Lee. It's cheesy, but it's going to stick. Lousy Lee, because he signed an executive order which will add more people to the gun ban list. And then he's calling essentially for red flag gun confiscation. And this is a guy who previously signed a Second Amendment sanctuary bill. He signed a form of constitutional carry. So previously he has done some pro-gun things, but now he has turned tail and really sold gun owners out. And it's really sad. And honestly, folks in Tennessee should be upset and mad that he is doing this. And if you voted for Lee last time in this last election, because he just got reelected, you should be like, why did I vote for you when you just sold us out after this shooting, right? Look, this shooting was tragic, and yes, something should be done. Let's arm willing teachers. Let's harden our schools. Let's make it easier for people to carry a gun, not gun control. That's what we expect out of California, New York, those really anti-gun places, not Tennessee of all places. So, that's why you got to have a backbone, and Lee does not have a backbone right now.
That pissed me off when I heard that, because I'm in Tennessee. I voted for Bill Lee because he was so pro-gun. He came in day one pushing a pro-gun agenda, and now he's like you said, he's turning tail and running.
Understand that John Lott has done all the research and stuff. 94% of the time mass shootings happen, they happen in gun-free zones. So wouldn't you think it's time to get rid of gun-free zones? John Lott took the FBI study, and then the FBI said only like 4% of mass shootings that get stopped by non-law enforcement civilians like myself. And the latest study that the FBI did was from 2014 to 2021. So John Lott took those numbers, and those are real numbers, and he took out that 94% of mass shootings that happened in gun-free zones. He took that out of the equation. And what was left were mass shootings that happened that weren't in gun-free zones, and there were 204 of them. And out of those 204, 104 of them were stopped by non-law enforcement civilians like myself. And my shooting that happened in Sutherland Springs was in on those figures.
Right.
So over 50% of the time, if it's not in a gun-free zone, over 50% of the time, a person like myself or you or one of your listeners would stop a mass shooter. So what that tells you is get rid of the gun-free zones. Let us, the populace, the civilian that owns a gun, that goes to the range and practices for yourself and shoots, let us take care of it if we have to.
Right.
And another interesting stat in that too, because John Lott looked at this also. Out of the 104 that were stopped by a non-law enforcement, not one innocent bystander was hit. And police department can't even claim that.
No, they can't claim that. But you know, it's sad because the way they report these numbers, they compare cities that are larger to other or states larger than others. And then the numbers they look off and inflated because of the ratio of the population. But then you also got to look at, they also take every shooting, roll it all in one big old ball, feed it out there. So everybody that's out there that's anti-gun is like, oh my God, look at these numbers. They're so high, so many. But it really ain't that bad.
See,
We're like number 25 in the world for mass shootings. We're not even in the top 10.
And that's another thing they do. They take all the suicides that were done with guns and put them in on gun violence. 2/3 of the people that die from guns in this country are from suicide every year.
Right.
And you know, our suicide rate isn't any higher than any other country but you know, like in Alaska, when they choose to commit suicide, they get on a snowmobile, ride it across a frozen lake until it collapses and goes in, and then they don't find the body until the spring. So if someone's going to commit suicide, a gun is just another tool of doing that, and it's really not gun violence, and that's what they like to take and put those numbers out as it's gun violence.
Right.
And not that I'm okay with suicide. I think that's a tragedy. And I don't believe that anybody should commit suicide.
Right.
But you know, it isn't something that should be on the stats for gun violence. And it makes our numbers go way high.
So Jordan, as far as like the Southeast, what is the biggest case that we've got going on right now?
Oh boy. Well, I think a lot of our issues right now have been in the legislative front, right? I got 13 states in the Southeast, and we've actually seen some victories, you know, counter to all this. In West Virginia, one of my states, they passed the Campus Self-Defense Act, which is essentially campus carry, right? So in West Virginia, it wasn't against the law to carry a gun on a public university, but if you were just a regular citizen, you'd be kicked out or kicked off the campus. If you were a student or a faculty member, you'd be fired or expelled from school, right? So what that law did is it essentially removed all the punishments for carrying a gun on campus, which is a great victory, right? You know, and that takes me back to my days in college with my gun rights club, because at Liberty, you could carry a gun on campus, which it was wonderful. But one of the things my club advocated for was to let you carry guns in dorms, because that was the lone gun-free zone on campus. And we actually got that victory back in the day. So you could carry on body or in a safe in your dorm. And, you know, we think of tragedies like Virginia Tech, you know, and these other, you know, university shootings, but Liberty's consistently ranked as one of the safest schools in the country. And I think that's due to their carry policy. And it's glad to see more states like West Virginia going towards that goal as well. Another big victory in my region has been, like I alluded to earlier, the pistol purchase permit repeal in North Carolina. That was a 104-year-old law that was honestly put in place to keep blacks from buying pistols. That was, when you look at the history, we actually have newspaper clippings from the time to where it said, pistol purchase permits, and I'm paraphrasing, are mostly issued to whites.
Yeah.
You can go online and find it. I'll be happy to send it to you. That's newspaper from the time. That's what the law was about, and yet many of the Democrats in our state legislature wanted to retain that law, and it was just completely redundant because you had to seek extra permission from your local sheriff to get the permit to buy a handgun. Well, due to our efforts in grassroots North Carolina, we got that repealed. Another important aspect of that bill that I do not want to exclude is it actually allowed carry on churches that also have Christian schools attached to them or private schools attached. So whereas that would have been a gun-free zone all the time, now when class is not in session, you can carry in that church. So that is a fantastic victory. And I don't think we're done in North Carolina yet. I don't know if you've seen the news, but with how the legislature is set up, is from the elections, is we were one vote shy of a Republican supermajority in the House. Now I know, look, with what I just said in Tennessee, Republican does not always mean pro-gun, and so I totally get that. But recently, a Democrat has switched parties from Democrat to Republican, giving Republicans a supermajority in the House, so we could veto or veto override, I should say, our anti-gun governor. So now we're applying pressure to that new Republican, so we could potentially pass constitutional carry in North Carolina. So that, I don't think we're done in North Carolina to pass even more excellent pro-gun legislation. Some of my states haven't started yet. I know Louisiana is just getting up and running. Texas is in the middle of it, as Stephen was talking about. Alabama's starting off soon. I'd love to pass a Second Amendment sanctuary, a strong one in Alabama this year. So there's a lot going on in my region right now, and some bright spots actually, to where we see all these negative things going on at the federal and in some states, but we've actually got some wins in the South this year. So I'm always happy to see that.
And I would like to give a big shout out to North Carolina's Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson. He kind of made his mark when he went to a city council meeting long ago and talked about gun control and how it negatively affects and stuff. And that's where his little speech that went viral, and that's what ended up getting him into the lieutenant governor's seat. Hopefully someday he'll run for governor himself.
That's the brother, right?
Yeah, he's my brother. I don't know. No, I know him well. Him and his beautiful wife. They're
I'm proud to have Mark Robinson as my lieutenant governor. I'm in North Carolina, but I'm very proud to have him personally. I would love to see him as governor one day. That there may or may not be an announcement coming on that soon. But I think he is fantastic. I think he's done a great job as lieutenant governor, and it would not take supermajorities to pass pro-gun legislation in North Carolina if he was governor. So I know he's a strong supporter of constitutional carry, and we got to kick Roy Cooper out and maybe have a governor like that one day. That's just my personal thoughts, but yeah.
So now I know we got all these cases going on. The one thing that's got everybody's feathers all ruffled right now, and I've gotten a million damn phone calls about this situation. I'm over it. What's going on with this pistol brace thing?
Well, okay, so we found a litigant in Shiner, Texas, and I helped find somebody that wanted to file a lawsuit, and GOA is backing him and helping him with his lawsuit on the pistol brace ban. But I also have, I guess, in some ways, I'm hoping that. So we also have a guy here in Texas, Michael Cargill,
Okay.
and he has filed on the bump stock ban and won in the Fifth Circuit Court to repeal the bump stock ban. And so his is going forward. Finally, the ATF did file an appeal, which means they're taking it to the Supreme Court. And our pistol brace ban is, we're still fighting that. But if Michael Cargill's his goes to the Supreme Court on the bump stock ban, the way he won it is because Donald Trump told the ATF, go redefine a bump stock as a machine gun.
Gotcha.
And that was the start down this path that we're at here with the pistol brace. So the ATF just redefined it. Now, people don't understand that the ATF is actually part of the executive branch. They're controlled by the president. And so now Biden has said, we'll just go redefine the pistol brace ban and the 80% receiver ban, and make that a thing. And so it's on the same premise with the pistol brace and the 80% receiver. It's on the same premise of the bump stock.
Okay.
And so the bump stock is going to be heard by the Supreme Court or rejected by the Supreme Court. And if it's rejected by the Supreme Court, say go down to lower courts. I've got a grandson that wants some attention. But if it is brought back down to the lower court ruling, then the bump stock ban goes away nationwide. And right along with it, if the Supreme Court hears it and decides that the ATF doesn't have the right to redefine something,
right,
that ruling will change the pistol brace ban and the 80% ban. And I don't see how the Supreme Court can hear anything other than that.
Right.
That because without Congress or anything, there's three branches of legislation. And
now, didn't the 80% thing just get overturned?
It has been overturned too, but it's still up for, if they appeal that, it hasn't gone to the Supreme Court yet.
Okay.
So
they haven't appealed it so far, correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
a lot of times, just generally speaking, if there's a favorable decision for gun rights at the appellate level, the government won't appeal it to the Supreme Court, because then that decision, if it would be pro-gun, and they think that the government thinks they'll lose and there'll be a pro-gun decision, that will be nationwide. And God forbid we get our freedoms back, right? So that's why the government isn't further pursuing that, because they would lose. They take the big L at the national level and not just the 3 states or whatever circuit they lost in there.
So where we're at right now is, yes, we're fighting the pistol brace ban, but that is a relative new fight because it just happened, and it's going to have to work its way through the courts, which could take 2 or 3 years. But what I'm hoping is that Michael Cargill's case goes through all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court hears and basically slaps down the ATF and says, you can't just redefine and change rules. And if that happens, the pistol brace ban goes away right along with the bump stock ban.
Right. So Liberty Acres, Tank and Real Deal, he said, are you gentlemen lawyers or are you going off talking points? Now, these gentlemen are GOA. They're the ones out here fighting in the courtrooms to help get this stuff overturned, bro.
So we have some brilliant attorneys, but neither Stephen and I are attorneys. So just take that for what you will. But I'll say something that kind of makes us unique, I would say. Well, I'd say 2 points on that. One, yes, we sue the pants off the government a lot, a lot. But our main focus is in the legislative process, right? Whether that's in Congress or your state capital. My role is I'm in the state capitals in my 13 states, right? In my right. That's why we're fighting stuff in Nashville, in Raleigh, in Columbia, in Charleston, both Charlestons. Just kidding. But in the state level, right? Because you can make the most difference there, right? It's a lot easier to pass a bill, at the state level than it is federally, right? And look at all the pro-gun bills that's been passed, say, in the last decade, right? It's usually been constitutional carry, Second Amendment Preservations Act, stuff like that at the state level. There hasn't been hardly anything passed federally that's been pro-gun. So that's where most of our efforts are there. However, we do sue the pants off the government a lot. So we can't win it all, right? So that's where our lawsuits come in. And my second point to that is the quality of our lawsuits is superb, right? And I'm not going to speak ill of any gun rights group, but sometimes there are groups out there that will sue, and we're glad they're fighting. That is superb. The more people we have in the fight, excellent. But sometimes their lawsuits don't go very far, or they get dismissed, or the quality, the arguments made are just not the best they could be, and therefore we lose the case. And GOA, our record is doing very well to that point in Oregon, right? A lot of groups sued in Oregon, but we're the ones who won. And that just speaks to the quality of our attorneys.
We do
the work that they do.
We do have excellent attorneys. We have top-notch attorneys, and I can't say enough good about our attorneys. Again, it's as Jordan was talking about. It's better to do it legislatively, but obviously, the supreme law of our country is our Constitution. And so if we have to do it through the Supreme Court, we'll do that also. If something is passed that is not legal, not constitutional, we'll fight that fight also. But yes, it's better, to do it at the state level and stuff. And again, Arizona, I've been watching the fight in Arizona, and they're trying to get campus carry passed in Arizona. They're trying to get things on, and Texas has campus carry. I keep telling people, we have a saying in Texas, and it goes all the way back to the Texas-Mexico revolution. And we developed a saying is "come and take it." Flew a flag over Gonzales and said, "Come and take it." And I like to say that Texas is one of the top pro-gun states in the country, and we're pushing to make Texas even better. And I challenge all the other states that are not as gun-friendly as we are, come and take it from us. But the whole time we're pushing Texas forward also.
Oh boy, I love these questions that we're getting here. This is good. Can you see him, Steven?
I'm gonna go ahead and warn you. Real deal. He's got a lot of questions, and he will come heavy. He does not back. He does not come light.
Bring it on. Bring it on. And if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know. If Steven doesn't know the answer, we'll get the answer for you. But to this question is, we are going after the NFA. GOA, our goal is to work ourselves out of a job, right? We don't want there to have to be a GOA one day, right? I would love to for every gun control law on the books to be repealed, and I can kick my feet up and ride around on my tractor and hunt and shoot my guns. That's where I want to be, right? And there's no gun control. I can have all my machine guns, suppressors, SBRs. That's not even a thing. That's just a gun because there's no gun control. That's the end goal, right? And we have aggressively pursued legislation and litigation to dismantle the NFA. We have done that through the Shush Act and the Hearing Protection Act, which would deregulate suppressors. We're doing that through the Short Act.
Joe Stats is listening in. I just saw that.
Hey,
Hi,
Joe. She's one of my great friends.
Okay.
But as I was saying, the Short Act, which would remove SBRs and short-barreled shotguns and any other weapons from the NFA. That is what we are fighting for in Congress. A lot of people don't know about this, but we have actually challenged the machine gun ban in the courts as well. So GOA opposes the NFA in its entirety, and we are fighting against that tooth and nail. So look, we're not going to perpetually keep ourselves in business by having gun control on the books. We want to repeal it entirely and work ourselves out of a job. Stephen, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I'm just saying, we absolutely are for doing away with the NFA Act. In fact, we're for doing away with the unconstitutional ATF altogether, because there has not been a law enforcement agency for any of our other rights, and so why should we have a specific law enforcement agency to deter us from buying or owning a gun of any sort? I think it's unconstitutional.
Now, isn't there some new agency that they're trying to push out there now to help with gun control?
I don't know another one.
Something about that. Like last week, they were saying something about a new agency to help with gun control or something like that.
I don't know of another one. ATF's bad enough.
Yeah, like this is apparently something that they're trying to. They've got a bill or something that they're trying to get out of the Senate.
I do know, and I could be wrong, but I believe the latest budgets for the ATF would drastically increase its funding.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Of course, the funding for the ATF should be zero because it shouldn't exist, as Stephen was saying. But, the government is just going to, keep growing, which personally is concerning to me. But there's especially going to go after the agencies that regulate our rights. So it's just something that we have to be ever vigilant for.
Yeah. Now, are y'all when y'all start fighting the case, y'all ride them out to the end?
Yeah. So we ride them out to the end, yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all ride them out to the end. So when I first heard of GOA, it was several years ago, and I was like, "The hell is this?" Because all I knew at that time was NRA. So I was like, I didn't mess with the NRA at the time. Well, when I first started carrying guns, I did sign up with the NRA because I thought, okay, you carrying a gun, they're gonna help you. And then I was like, okay, so these guys are a joke. And so y'all popped up, and then I heard about FPC and some other organizations, and I was like, I don't know who these people are. And then I started noticing all the cases that would come up. I wouldn't hear the NRA's name. I would hear y'all and FPC and Second Amendment Foundation. But I hear y'all more than anybody. So I know y'all out here boots on the ground. I see y'all popping up. Y'all were on the ATF's neck at SHOT Show. So I was like, man.
So that was one of our lawyers that went over and did that. I don't know if you. So they went over there and questioned about the pistol brace ban, and the first guy that they questioned from the ATF looked like deer in the headlights. And so Steve, our lawyer, said, I need the highest ranking ATF member here. And they brought him up. He said, and he questioned him, and ATF agent said, we are going to enforce this. And so he handed him the Save the Puppy patch, abolish the ATF. He handed him that patch and walked away.
So he's actually got a comment about the SHOT Show deal.
I'm not familiar with that, and so I don't feel like I can comment on that. So I'll get back to you.
Yeah, so they're talking about the whole 88. What is it? If your background check on an NFA item stays open for, I think it's 88 days, then the system automatically denies it. And they said that they would. The attorney said when he spoke to the ATF guy, they would proceed with legal action after that point once it's denied.
Yeah,
So I think that's what he was referencing.
That's what the ATF agent said.
Yeah,
and basically making this a trap. If you get denied, then the ATF has said that they're going to come pick your gun up.
right.
And you've just given them a picture of yourself. You've given them your fingerprints. You've given them everything that they need to find you, and let them know that you had a pistol brace. And again, we're still trying for an injunction to keep this from going into effect at all.
Gotcha. So, yeah, so I think a lot of people are kind of uptight about this whole thing because there's so much information going on out there. This guy saying this guy saying that. I saw the interview with the lawyer and, talking about the conversation with the ATF. And so, I mean, it does seem like it would be a trap. But at the same time, I've talked to my ATF guy, and he's like, nah, that's not the case.
Well, we would never suggest you do something illegal. So, you do whatever you need to do. If you think you need to take your pistol brace and give them all the information and stuff, then GOA is not going to try to tell you need to do something illegal. But know this, we are trying to fight this. There's estimated between 40 and 41 million pistol braces out there already. And for them to just say, we are going to make you, if you don't register it, we're going to make you a felon, is just unconscionable. How can you do that? How can you just say, okay, you either destroy it or you register it to us, and so we know where you're at? That is so far beyond infringements, it's ridiculous.
See, I told you. He's going to be on your neck. So he said that's a lie. There's a lot of states you cannot incriminate yourself applying to the government. I don't know what law he's referring to. I mean,
well, basically they're saying that at the end of this, and it's now a very short time. It was 120 days, and at the end of this 120 days, that if you have not applied and stuff, then basically you will be a felon with your pistol brace.
Right.
And if they run out of time and they decide, they said it's to their discretion whether they pursue you or not, if it's past that 120 days from when it was, is what they're saying.
So
and if you leave it to their discretion, they could say, okay, it's automatic denial because it's left to their discretion.
So, like as FFLs, I'm an FFL myself. We have to follow guidelines because they'll pop up and do a surprise visit on you in a minute. So we have to follow their guidelines. And so for us, the day that was published to the registry, everything that had a pistol brace off of it, pistol brace on it, we had to pull it off the wall, stop selling it, and either take the braces off and destroy them, or go ahead and get them registered as SBRs and then put them back on the wall. Those were our options.
Yeah.
So we took everything off the wall. So we don't have anything on the wall right now with pistol braces on it. But I've been in some places where they took the guns off the walls and they took the pistol braces off and put the guns back out for sale, but they got braces in the box. So you still got intent by having them together.
Well, see, it's all really confusing because I've been into a shop since then that said, well, we're not to the 120 days yet. We can sell all the way up until then.
They actually called our shop and was like, "Hey, if you got anything with a brace on it, you're out of compliance. You need to get them off the wall now and get the braces off or get them registered."
Yeah.
You were supposed to do that effective the day that this was published.
I think it's important to keep in mind whom we're dealing with. It's the ATF. I mean, this is the agency that has literally flip-flopped what 1 billion times. So I think to expect consistency from the ATF or is foolish. So I think expect the unexpected from the ATF. So,
and I kind of agree with.
I don't know what you're talking about, Liberty Acres, precisely for me to specifically contact with that. If you want to get in contact with me, I'd be happy to get you a better answer. But I can't give you anything more specific right now. So
I don't think he's specifically talking about your attorneys, but there are several YouTube attorneys out there.
He's talking about our attorneys.
He's talking about y'all specific. I don't think he's specifically talking about y'all directly, because there are several attorneys out there that's giving different information about all these different cases, and you don't know which one is giving you the correct information. So it's kind of hard to determine, well, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. Well, this guy said this, and he's a 2A attorney. Well, this guy's a 2A attorney, and he said this, so it's kind of hard to try and figure out what to do and how to move.
So you can imagine if the attorneys are confused about it, the ATF has done something that is just, where the attorneys don't even know exactly, and then the ATF tells them something different, the officers and stuff. So it's hard to tell exactly. Yeah, and again, get with Jordan, and he can get you with our attorneys, and we can get a more definitive answer on some of this stuff. But I don't think our attorneys are lying. I think with the information that they were given at the SHOT Show, and I was there at the SHOT Show when all that came down. And it wasn't just our attorneys or anything that were talking about that. It was a lot of them that were discussing this. And again, you're trusting the ATF, where, like Jordan says, they just change their mind in a whim.
Yeah. My thing is, like, if I'm going to trust any attorneys, it'd be the ones that's out there fighting, that's in the court cases.
And ours are.
You know what I'm saying? So them are the ones I typically would like to listen to versus some Joe Blow attorney that just popped up a YouTube video and is giving his opinion. That's not even in the fight. They're not in the courtrooms. They're not out there actually fighting. So, I mean, it depends, man. Everybody has their opinion. But I mean, it's just too much information out there. And if you don't have it all, you don't know it all, and then you hear 4 or 5 different things from 4 or 5 different peoples, then it kind of gets things kind of messed up. So I've gotten to where I listen to y'all's attorneys because I know y'all are out there actively fighting, and you're in the court cases. So that's why I listen to y'all's attorneys, and I see the cases y'all have won. So I know your lawyers are good lawyers because y'all have won some hard cases. So I know they're not no fly-by-night attorneys. You know what I'm saying?
They're not the JV league. They're varsity.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of people, there's still people out there that don't really know who GOA is, and they're still kind of iffy because y'all haven't been around as long as some of the other organizations out there.
So do you know how GOA was formed?
No. How were you?
1976. GOA was formed by 2 former board members of the NRA. And at the time, the NRA didn't have a legislative action group. And so the GOA was formed to be that legislative action group to actually fight for our rights. And we were formed to be the no compromise fighting. And at some point in 1976, it started out as Gun Owners of California. And one of our founding members is Eric Pratt's father, Larry Pratt. Eric is now our senior vice president. His father was one of the founding members of GOA and the founders. And so he was part of it that formed it, and we became a legislative action group. And we wouldn't compromise on anything. And when they had the protest in California, where they walked into the Capitol with their guns, another three-letter pro-gun group was ready to ban guns in the Capitol, but GOA stood strong against it. And so this other three-letter group decided that they would form their own legislative action group, the ILA. And so now they have their own legislative group, but we were the first ones really fighting in the legislature to secure our rights and stuff. So we've been around since 1976, and that's a little bit of proof that we're here to stay. And the other groups have decided that well, this is okay or that's okay, and GOA has stood their ground on bump stocks and everything else. And again, like I say, you can walk into the Texas Capitol. If you want to walk around the lines that are going through the metal detectors in the Texas Capitol, you pull out your concealed permit and you hand it to the officer, and you walk right around the line and right into the Texas Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way it should be, that you should be able to take your gun in a state capitol or wherever you want to take your gun, because it is a constitutional right. It's time to get rid of gun-free zones, and that's what GOA is about. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, we're fighting that fight for you.
So I think my guy Real Deal, I think his problem is not so much the attorney. I think he's having a hard time swallowing what he said, because he doesn't really care for G&G. He feels like he puts fuel on the fire and tries to make things worse than they are. So I think that's why he's having a hard time with that video and believing what was said in that video.
Yeah, look, man, I'll even, if you want to talk tomorrow, if you want to have a conversation, I'd love to chat with you and see if we can help you out. But I mean, GOA, we're putting out the information first. I think we're breaking stuff that other groups either just don't know about, or maybe they're hiding. I mean, we broke that the ATF had 1 billion records, nearly 1 billion gun transfer records of like 4473s and other transfer documentation, and that they're effectively digitized. Like that's what GOA broke, and that's what we put out there. So we're not only are we fighting, leading the way in your state capital and in DC for your rights, but we're breaking information that is huge when it comes to your Second Amendment rights. So that's what we're all about. And we don't really care to get involved with drama. We're all about fighting for the Second Amendment without compromise.
All right, so my man said, you do realize the legalizer is hard to decipher. I'm not sure. I think he wanted to word that a little different. It's kind of, yeah. Might want to say that different, Jason. Say it different. But Yeah, it's a lot of information out there. It is hard to decipher, especially if you're not an attorney. And like I said, you're hearing it from so many different people and so many different versions of what's going on. That's like the whole Tennessee thing with they passed that law early last year, where we have a list of restricted guns that you weren't allowed to have in the state. And they passed a law, and they said that law did nothing. It just took SBRs and SBSs off of that list, but it didn't circumvent the NFA or anything like that. You still have to have your tax stamp and everything like that. You could still own those guns as long as you had your tax stamp. But a lot of people out there, one in particular who's attorney with a YouTube channel, I personally don't care for him. He did a whole video about it and put that information out there. And so I said something to him like, that's not quite what that law did. That's not what it did. It just basically just said, hey, we're going to take these off of this. You know what I'm saying? And he put it out there like they did the whole thing with the suppressor thing in Texas. And that's not actually what that law did. Tennessee passes little weird laws like that from time to time. And it don't really do anything. It just
that is so true when it comes to Tennessee laws. I hate to say it, but Tennessee passes a so-called Second Amendment sanctuary law. It's very weak. It's not even worth the paper it's written on. Your constitutional carry law is very weak. It's sad how weak that law is. But GOA, we're fighting to improve that bill. You know, like that legislation that we've been advocating for and fighting for, and was actually starting to move its way through the legislature before the Nashville shooting happened. That would actually have real constitutional carry in Tennessee. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for your rights without all this government hoopla and confusing and poorly written laws. You know, we think shall not be infringed is pretty simple. Right, that's the standard we hold politicians and legislation to. Shall not be infringed. That's it, right? And that's what a common man like me. You know, I'm just old redneck from North Carolina. But I get that, right? And that's how it should be. Shall not be infringed is the standard.
Yeah. So like, for me, when I first met you, first thing you said to me was, we're fighting to put ourselves out of a job. And so I was like, okay, well, I see y'all out here in all these different cases and these different lawsuits. And I see y'all doing your thing. I see y'all winning cases. But some people just can't swallow it. So it's like, what do you do? So if you would like, I will make it happen so that you and my man can talk.
Please.
He can get a better understanding because he's that stuff, like, he's real passionate about it.
Absolutely.
And we'll go all night. Me and him.
I'd love to chat with you tomorrow or next week. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean it when I say GOA wants to put ourselves out of a job. Like, there shouldn't have to be a GOA that exists, right? Because there is no gun control. Like, there's no background checks, there's no permits, there's no such thing as an SBR, there's no Hughes Amendment, you know, there's no gun laws, and there's no threat of gun laws being passed. Like, that's the nirvana we want to reach. That's the paradise we want to go towards. And that is our mission, that is our goal. You know, we're not out here making a bunch of money. We're not out here wearing big fancy suits. You know, we're out here fighting for your Second Amendment rights. And, you know, I can't put it any more simpler than that. I don't know the way to say it any more simply, but we're in it to win it and to restore our Second Amendment rights, because they surely have been infringed upon. Look, we got 20,000 pages of gun control. You know, it's just so much, restrictions that we have. And until we get back to showing up being infringed, we're not going to stop fighting.
Yeah, he's he's pretty upset about that. Tennessee code is bad, but our lawmakers don't understand it. Must have legislation trying to explain them. It's like the Judiciary Committee for SB 1503. Yeah,
SB
our laws.
1503 was the real constitutional carry bill that GOA has been fighting for. So
Which, by the way, when you see Joe Stats come up, Joe is a former Tennessee director for GOA. She's
Okay.
been down there at your Tennessee Capitol, and she's been fighting the fight. And from what I understand, even though she doesn't necessarily work for GOA anymore, she's still out there fighting a fight. She never lets anything go.
Gotcha.
You got to know Joe's a, a country woman. She's absolutely she has a bison ranch where she raises big old huge bison and stuff, and she just absolutely salt of the earth.
Her name sounds familiar. So I know I've heard her name around.
Well, you're from Tennessee. You should have heard her name because she's been in the fight longer uh, than you can imagine, and she's fighting hard.
and another thing about GOA is we're not necessarily in it for our credit or our edification. Certainly we like to brag on our wins and celebrate our wins, but there's been many times to where we stop gun control or pass a good bill, and then another three-letter organization comes in at the last minute and sweeps away all the credit. Right? That happens very often. But you've seen me just in this live stream today talk about other groups, with Grassroots North Carolina. We proudly work with state groups that share our values. Grassroots North Carolina comes to mind. Tennessee Farms Association, Virginia Citizens Defense League, West Virginia Citizens Defense League, Bama Carry. There are so many great state groups that just within my region, I'm talking to on a weekly or sometimes a daily basis to push good legislation through. So, we're not necessarily. Yes, our goal is to work ourselves out of a job, but we're not even necessarily trying to take all the credit. We just want to fight for your rights. Let's see what the question says.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, Michael Cargill, he's not with GOA, but he's fighting a fight, and we're proud of Michael Cargill for what he has accomplished, and he is coming to the state capitol in Texas on our Second Amendment Day, and it's GOA's Second Amendment Day at the Capitol, and Michael Cargill is going to be speaking. And again, he doesn't work for us, but he's done an excellent job in the fight. He owns a gun shop there in Austin, Texas, which is hard in Austin, Texas. I call Austin, Texas Far East LA. So
Right.
he's actually in the belly of the beast, and he's making that fight, and so we're glad to associate with Michael Cargill, even though he doesn't work for us.
Thanks.
And to answer the question up on the screen now is, we filed the lawsuit on, and these lawsuits, they take time, and it's unfortunate that we can't, and we're still trying to get an injunction to keep it from happening, but it's still in the works, and it's got to go through the court system.
So as I recall, and I'll tack on to Stephen, I think the Congress was going to do, the House, I should say, was going to do a Congressional Review Act on the brace ban. But then the Covenant school shooting happened. And then they pulled their CRO from it after the Covenant shooting. So, yes, we have been talking to congressmen to fight that. But when that school shooting happened, just like Bill Lee, and he sold us out, they pulled their CRO, and they're not doing that right now. So, yeah, it's very frustrating to see that to happen. But yes, to answer your question, yes.
So, Jason, I don't know where you're from. You said you had, what's that?
They're in Washington State.
Washington State. So we are fighting the high high capacity, I call it the standard capacity magazine ban. We're fighting that in California right now, and if that goes on and the Supreme Court hears that also, we're fighting to get that overturned, and so in the state of California. So we're in the fight for that also, trying to overturn the high capacity magazine ban.
Yeah, he said he wants to be a part of a group to start a fund to firsthand apply money donated directly to fighting unconstitutional laws.
Sounds like you'd be right at home at GOA. We actually also have a foundation, Gun Owners Foundation. That's really the group that does the suing, because they're legally they're the C3. But it sounds like you'd be, because that's where, when you invest into GOA, you're not buying me a suit, right? I think I own one suit and I got it from Delks or the mall, right? Like, we're not buying fancy suits. We don't fly. Steven flies a lot more than I do, but we don't fly first class. We're on the back of the plane.
I book economy every time. I book economy, but I will tell you that GOA has flown me around, and sometimes they bump me up to the nice seats.
But you don't book the nice seats, right?
Booking in economy.
Exactly. And trust me, we're not getting rich off this job. And I'm not complaining about my job or anything, but we're in it for the cause. It takes someone who is really dedicated to GOA, or to the Second Amendment fight, to work for GOA, because I'm sure Steve and I could work for other companies and make a lot more money than what we're making now. But we work for GOA because we love the mission and protecting our rights.
And here's the deal, because I talk to people about this all the time. No, GOA doesn't support Bud Light.
What's going on with Bud Light right now?
I talk about this all the time with my story, what happened to me and my story. I could go to work for the NRA. I could go to work for Second Amendment Foundation. I could go to work with TSRA, Texas State Rifle Association. I could work for almost any one of them with my story. But I choose to work for GOA because I see the difference that GOA is making. And I want to be part of the solution. I don't want to be part of, I want to be the no compromise. I don't want to align myself with. Now, I'm a life member of all those groups, and I believe in the shotgun effect. I'll take a life membership for the NRA, the TSRA, the Second Amendment Foundation, and I'm a life member of GOA. But GOA is the one that's making the most difference, and I want to be part of that.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, I see y'all making more moves and making more things happen and getting more laws changed than any of the other groups. And all I see on the other side is them on the news talking about, well, this guy bought $3,000 suits and did this and did that. I'm like, okay, so but where's the money that all these members are paying? Where's it going to? And it's going to these suits and these fake companies to buy suits and stuff. So I actually see y'all out here actually working. Every time I see one of y'all, you're wearing a polo or a t-shirt.
I got my pants from Walmart, okay? Like,
right.
We don't get any sort of clothing budget.
Now, and I'm talking about everybody in GOA across the country. I've seen a bunch of y'all on different podcasts and different shows, and nobody's all dressed up. Everybody's just wearing regular clothes like this, and they're out there grinding, and they're out there on the fight. I know y'all been here fighting. I know y'all work with TFA. They're good people, man. They put out good information. They're always putting information out. I subscribe to their newsletter. They've invited me to some events, and they typically have events that I kind of usually don't go, because in this area, the guys that go to those events, they're not too friendly with melanated people. So, I kind of shy away from those events. But they do put out good information. And there's a young lady. I can never remember her name. It's a black girl, real skinny. See, I think she's from Africa. What is her name? I forgot her name. But she's a spokesperson for one of these 2A organizations out here. I thought she was working with you guys.
You're talking about Antonia?
That's her.
Yeah.
Oh, Antonia Okafor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a rock star.
Yeah. So I had wanted to get her on a long time ago because I saw her over on Hank Stranger's channel.
Mhm.
We can arrange that.
So we
Yeah,
sure
well,
can.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, she was here, and I didn't find out she was here until after it was already over.
So Antonio runs what's called Empowered for GOA. And Empowered is the women's gun owners group and educational thing for women at GOA. And she has talked to the United States Congress. She is very well spoken. She is smart. She's bright, beautiful. She, we love Antonio.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she seems like she's really intelligent. And she's really active out there. She was here for a 2A rally or something that we had about a year or two ago. Joe told me to get in touch with her. She'd love to get me involved with TFA events. So I definitely reach out to you. I can give my information to these guys. They already have it, so we can link up and everything. But I want to get more active out here in the community. I started Or Armament. That's my rifle company, and I'm trying to partner up with different groups and get try and support the community more. With my channel, I'm trying to get people like you all on here so we can talk about stuff like this. And get the word out there about your organizations, about what you do, how you try and help us, see what we can do to give back and try and help you guys, and then try and get questions answered for people that have questions. Like the Bud Light thing, I threw it up there because I'm like, I saw something else about Bud Light the other day. What the heck is going on with Bud Light? What's going on? What am I missing? What happened with Bud Light?
Don't know? You don't know?
No, what happened?
What rock have you been under?
Man,
but Bud Light put a trans guy that has a big TikTok thing on their can and put the rainbow on it and stuff, and so now everybody gave him like $50,000 for his involvement with Bud Light, and he's a trans guy, I guess, acting like a prepubescent girl, like a little girl.
okay.
That's their new spokesperson. And
okay.
Everybody has just walked away from Bud Light and said, not going to drink Bud Light anymore. And they've lost like $50 million in less than a week.
Yeah, I never drank Bud Light like that anyway. I drank Heineken. So man, there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't keep up with. If it's not 2A related, I typically don't even watch it. 2A that's my thing.
And their PR woman that did all this said that they are wanting to get away from the beer gutted rednecks. Didn't say it that way, and get on to the new woke people and stuff. So
right. Yeah, the new woke, this whole woke thing is really gotten on my nerves too. Like it's this woke thing is stupid. Most of the people I see that talk about, I'm woke. You dumb. The stuff they talk about, man, the stuff they do is like, you're dumb. You're not woke. You still sleep. Your eyes are wide shut. So just stop.
Hey, Jason, we would love to have you to join just gunowners.org. You can join there, and Just because you join, other people can still join. That doesn't stop others from joining. So we love to have you at gunowners.org, and it's $25 for an annual membership. And look, I'll say this: if you're hesitant about GOA or just joining a 2A organization in general, I get that. I understand that, but I'd ask you to sign up for our email list. It's kind of like a test run, right? You're kind of like you're test driving your car. Sign up for our email list. That's completely free. You'll see our email action alerts, like the one I was talking about earlier in Tennessee, which we have pre-written letters that you can send to whether it's your federal congressman, your state legislators, so you can take action and speak up for the Second Amendment. And if you like what we're doing, then maybe you consider joining. If not, hit unsubscribe and we won't bother you anymore. So give us a test drive and check us out with our email list. So
yeah, I've actually used those letters.
I'd like to mention also that Palmetto State Armory is now doing a stripped lower AR-15 receiver, and it has my logo on it, and it has so BFD is the prefix to the serial number on it, and BFD stands for Barefoot Defender because I ran across the street with no shoes on. And on the selector switch, it has, because I told them when they asked me what I wanted to do with the selector switch, I went back to Ben Franklin's quote where he said, "Those that would give up liberty for temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." So safety is safety on it. Liberty is for fire. And GOA is at the backside because we eventually want to get rid of the NFA and we want to go full auto anyway. So GOA is at the back of the selector switch.
Okay.
And you can go to Palmetto State Armory and look at the stripped lower receivers, and that is on their website right now. You can order it. They're going to do a run of 10,000 of them, and they're donating $10 a piece to GOA for the fight.
So I'm dropping the link for that right now.
Excellent. Buy them up, man. Buy them up. Maybe they'll do another 10,000.
Yeah, I have PSA links on my website, so anybody that wants to go there. I'm actually gonna pick up one of these receivers to support myself. And I do whatever I can, bring y'all on whenever you need to. If you got something big going on, you want to talk about it, let me know. You can gladly come on here and talk about it. I might not be as big as some of the other channels, but I'll gladly let y'all come on and talk about whatever you need to talk about.
Here's the deal. If you're in Tennessee and you buy one of those receivers, we are going to be in Tennessee for the faith-based security network. What's the date on that, Jordan? We're going to
July 27th through the 29th.
July 27th through the 29th. I will be there. If you buy one of those lower receivers and bring it in, I'm sure they don't want you to bring a whole AR-15 into the conference, but if you bring that lower receiver in, I'll sign it.
So if y'all let me give me the information on it, where it's going to be, and stuff like that, I'll try and come out and
all right,
check it out.
absolutely.
Yeah, and let me know if it's a black tie type deal or if I can come as I am.
Oh, come the way you want to come.
All
it
right.
is not black tie.
Yeah,
that will probably, because I'm going to be speaking on a stage, that will probably be the one event that you will see me in a suit.
Gotcha.
Because I'm going to be speaking on a stage at a church building. It's usually held at a church building and or a Christian university of some sort. And so I will respect the crowd. And when it's my turn to speak, when I'm behind the booth at GOA, I'll be in a polo. But when
most churches around here come as you are. So
yeah. And that's what it is. It's not a suit and tie event necessarily. but
Okay.
I will wear a suit when I'm on stage, just out of respect.
Okay. Okay. Now, when we were backstage earlier, you were speaking about Colonel Grossman. Can you go into a little bit more about that? What you were talking about with him?
Well, Colonel Grossman is he's written several books, and again, On Killing is one of his books, and it talks about uh, the psyche of being able. So, what was it, Jordan, in World War II, when our troops first went into battle? They found out that they weren't able to fire on the enemy.
It was only like, if I remember correctly, like 10 to 12% of our soldiers in World War II actually fired at the enemy. And that was due. And I'm reading the book right now. It's a very thick book. That's why it's taken me a while. But, but as the military had to change their training, and as I recall, it was up to where 80 or 90% of our troops in Vietnam actually fired at the enemy. But it was due to their psyche and the training that our troops didn't fire at the enemy for many reasons.
and and it's basically, he talks about this, and he talks about how I guess violent video games flips off the safety switch for uh men, and to be able to go into battle and stuff, and that's what we're doing to our children, is we're flipping off that safety switch with violent video games and things. Now, that doesn't mean just because you flipped off the safety, you're going to pull the trigger. But for those that have mental illnesses, then it allows them to flip that safety switch off and go in and start murdering people.
Gotcha.
And that again, my son would argue, "Oh, I did violent video games when I was young, and I never killed anybody or anything," and that may be true, but he was mentally stable. Uh,
Yeah.
and so Grossman talks a lot about the cause and effects uh, that has caused some of these mass shootings, and the mindset that drives them and stuff, and he has written books for the military to be able to train with, to make our military men and women fighting machines, and they are. And there's a reason and a use for that, and we're glad that we have that, but there's some things that need to be reserved for, mentally stable people. And he writes a lot of stuff, and like Jordan said, I think On Killing is mandatory reading for Marines now.
Yeah. That's like Paul from Legally Owned America.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he wrote that book, How to Create a Monster. And it goes into the psyche of mass shooters and stuff like that.
Well,
I have that book. I have his book around here somewhere.
Yeah, I have.
I don't think I had quick access to it. But Paul, in case y'all don't know, Paul is actually our Louisiana director.
Colonel Grossman is going to be at the Faith Based Security Network in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
He's going to be there, and he's
Okay.
going to be one of the speakers. And I could actually get him on your show if you like. Just forewarning, I had him on one of my shows, and he promoted his latest book, and it's on hunting, and it talks about being a sheepdog, and some of the things that you learn as a hunter, and some of the things you do as a hunter make you more of a sheepdog and make you respect life and stuff. Some of the lessons of growing up and hunting.
Got you. Yeah, that sounds like I would like to have them on too. I want to get a lot of different people on. I'm not one dimensional when it comes to my guests. You know what I'm saying? So I have people from all different walks of life. Let me see. We got two. Let me see. So Jason said he's gonna join, but he would like to talk to one of you to at some point about his idea. Said it's hard to kind of put into words by typing. So I mean, put us in touch. Yeah, I can put y'all in touch.
What just happened?
Did we
I
lose?
lost video.
You may accidentally hit the camera button.
No, I wasn't touching anything, and it just went. And
You're still on, Steven. You're still.
You're still here. We can
Yeah,
still
you're still
see you.
here.
It says it's loading something.
Oh,
Outlook
may-
off something.
his phone may have got an update or something. So yeah, we'll get you guys in touch. That people that want to talk to him, I'll find out how they want to do that, and we'll go from there. I'm not gonna just put their phone numbers out there to chat or nothing like that. He said he disagrees with that because a lot of people who are mentally disturbed know the Bible better, and we do end quote chapters and kill for because Jesus told him to, and we all know Jesus didn't tell them to kill.
Well, absolutely, and the devil is the deceiver.
And I said this. I said this on Hank. Was it last week? Things are running together. Look, there's evil in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And it may manifest it in many different ways. It may manifest it in a girl who thinks he's a guy and shoots up in elementary school. It may manifest it in many different ways, right? But when you boil it down to the root of it, it is evil and it is sin. And there needs to be good people ready to fight back against evil, right? He just brought up the Bible and Scripture. One of the most important verses to me is Romans 12:21.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, do not be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. And that's why there needs to be good people trained and ready to fight back against people who want to cause evil. And if they're going to shoot up in elementary school, then they need to be prepared to shoot back. And that's the essence of it. Look, I don't know what compels someone to take innocent life, but I sure as heck do know what compels someone to shoot back. And Stephen is the example of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of person. I hate that somebody has mental health issues that they need to deal with. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to harm my family, trying to harm me, man, we're just gonna have to work. It's as simple as that. I at that point, your mental disability or mental issues you're having at that moment are irrelevant to me because you're trying to
100%.
Well, we've always heard innocent because of mental illness. No, it's guilty because of mental illness. It's not an excuse. And if you're mentally ill, I'm really sorry. You should seek out help and stuff. But the moment that you start murdering innocents, then somebody needs to shoot back.
Yeah.
You know what breaks my heart to maybe go in a slightly different direction on this, but there's at least 20 veterans a day that commit suicide, and they're struggling with mental illness, and yet a lot of the gun control that we are fighting is targeting veterans and trying to take their guns away, and prohibiting them from getting the help that they would need because they would lose their guns. And they are the veterans are the last people that should lose their gun rights, but we shouldn't discourage them from getting help by taking their guns away. So that's just a little side note. So
one of the future things that I want to do with our shop, we got some big changes coming right now that's in the mix. But once that's all done and said, there's a group out there, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. but they work with gun ranges and gun stores for people that have, depression or things like that, mental health issues that they need to address, and they may be suicidal or thinking of harming someone else, but they have firearms. You can bring your firearms to them, and they provide like safe storage for your firearms, and they hold them until you get the help you need. And once you get that help, and you can show that you've gotten the help and you're better and you're okay, then you can get your firearms back. And I would like to work with them to try and help people out here who need that help.
We don't need the government to come in and take our guns away because of, whatever reason the government makes up. So absolutely.
So tap in. He said, ask you about the verdict in Austin with the BLM protester with the AK.
The what?
I guess there was a situation in Austin with a protester had an AK.
Oh yes, and a guy was driving. He was doing an Uber, and he drove into the protest, and they stopped him. And a guy with an AK, and he raised the AK up, and this guy was in the military, and he shot and killed the guy with an AK. Well, just the other day, he was found guilty of murder, and the Texas governor is going to
Pardon him.
pardon him. And
Okay.
of course, everybody's screaming he was found guilty, but it was in Austin that the jury was held, liberal Austin, and it was a very liberal judge and a very liberal prosecutor. And there's video on it. And I personally think the guy was defending his life. He was stopped by these protesters, and it was Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And the guy with an AK raised the AK to like he was going to shoot him, and the guy shot him first. And
So I saw where Governor Abbott, correct? It was
yes,
about to pardon somebody, but I didn't realize it was the same situation.
well, that's what it's all about. Is Abbott saying that he's going to pardon him?
Yeah. So he said, if you go to prison and serve your time, you pay your debt to society. That was the whole reason for going to prison. Should you have your gun right? I feel like people that go to prison, they made mistakes. And a lot of them learn from those mistakes. Some of them don't. I know some guys that are in and out of prison like you change underwear. But at the same time, I also know guys that went to prison, and since they came home, it's been 10, 20 years, whatever. They haven't been in no trouble, not even a speeding ticket. And yeah, I feel like they should be able to carry a firearm to protect themselves. I've got another partner.
So that's a God-given right to be able to protect yourself. And it absolutely, my wife has a cousin that was caught with some marijuana when he was in high school, but he was 17. They tried him as an adult. He has a felony, and now he can't own a gun to protect himself. It was a non-violent crime. And so if a person is so violent and so much a threat to society that you don't think he should be able to protect his life or his family, then he should never make it out of prison.
Right.
If he's that much of a threat to society, then he should either spend the rest of his life in prison or be executed, depending on the crime.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I
and
feel like if
the deal.
If you beat your wife, you beat your kids, you rape, you harm, you molest children and stuff like that, I don't think you should be able to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you're worthy of protecting yourself.
Well, if you're that kind of person that you're that much of a threat to society, I don't think you should be in society at all.
Yeah. But, people, I got some partners, man, they got drug charges. They don't have any violent offenses. They never raped anybody, never hurt any kids, anything like that. They just got some drug charges where they made mistakes when they was young. It happens. And they're not allowed to legally own firearms. But I think they should be able to. And so I'm actually in the process now of helping one of them restore his rights
Excellent.
and get his rights back. And he's pretty much there. He's almost done. He's on the final phase of it.
This cousin of my wife's, he's probably 62 years old now, and this happened when he was a teenager, when he was 17, and he's never been able to own a gun.
Yeah.
Now the ones that are violent, they're going to own a gun whether it's legal for them to do it or not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing with they always talk about more gun laws. Criminals don't follow law.
Exactly.
That's why they're criminals. You know what I'm saying? So gun law is not going to stop anything. They're going to do the same thing they've been doing. I mean, if you say, well, you got to have a background check for a person sale, that's cool. They still going to go to where they know they can get the gun without a background check. It's as simple as that. They still going to do it. Or they'll find another way to do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't see them out here banning cars for all the drunk drivers out here killing people every day. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's stupid.
Well, and absolutely. So I'm the one to talk to about that also. The day before my 31st birthday, a drunk driver had 4 prior DWIs. He ran over and he killed my parents, both of them.
Damn.
And
I hate to hear that.
yeah, well, he had 4 prior DWIs. He shouldn't have been driving a car to begin with. But I don't blame the Ford Ranger. I don't sue Ford Motor Company because he used a car to kill my parents. I'm not suing Bud Light because he drank Budweiser or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the person that ran over and killed my parents, and again, they try to sue manufacturers of firearms, and it's not their fault.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a world where everybody wants to sue everybody for everything. You know, it's like it's just what it is, man. It is what it is.
More people are murdered with a hammer every year than by a rifle. And if that's being said, should we be able to sue Stanley Tool Company every time a hammer gets misused and somebody gets murdered?
Man, that's gonna be this. I think this fight that we have is a never-ending fight. I don't think either side's ever gonna truly win the whole thing. I think it's a never-ending fight. I hate that the way things are looking, we could or may not have a Second Amendment, 20, 30 years from now. But if we don't, I'm probably not going to be here to see it anyway.
Well, that's what I'm fighting for is my grandchildren now.
Yeah, I want them to be able to have it.
I'm not going to be here in another 30 years, but my grandchildren are.
Yeah.
I hope to be here in 20, 30 years, and I hope to have children and maybe by then. So we're fighting, we're like, as long as GOA is around, we'll be fighting for your rights. And
we will be.
If GOA has any say in the matter, then we're going to go towards that paradise I was talking about earlier with no gun control. That's our end.
That would be beautiful. So, yeah, I just hate. I got 2 granddaughters and a grandson, and I look at the way things are headed right now and how things are going right now, and all this whole LGQ8, the alphabet soup people, all that stuff, man, it's overwhelming, man. It's like, look, let kids be kids. Quit forcing this mess on them. Quit shoving it down their throats. Why you got drag queens doing shows for the kids? Why you keep telling them that they can't protect themselves? I mean, come on, man. Stop it. And so I think if things keep going the way they're going, if we have a blue wave come through, we're gonna mess around and go back to slavery. And that's just how I feel about it. But it's not gonna just be us as melanated people being slaves. It's going to be everybody, because they would love to have a new a world where there's nothing but martial law and citizens can't have firearms, because they can do whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, and
And
we all know how that works out too.
yeah,
We've seen it in the past, whether it's the Russian Revolution, how many people were murdered, or under Nazi Germany or Mao Zedong in China. First thing they do is they pick up the guns, and then when there are no guns, and let me tell you, human nature never changes. The reason everybody says, "Oh, that couldn't happen here in the United States," well, the reason it couldn't happen is because men and women with guns that would stand up. Venezuela did the same thing here recently. You
yeah,
know, it human nature never changes when government is in charge. Government has mass murdered more people than any of all these mass murderers combined. One world war, like World War II, government murdered more people by far than any mass murderer has ever done.
right. And I have a hard time trusting government. I'm gonna be honest. I have a
Absolutely.
hard time. But at the end of the day, you just gotta put your faith in the Most High.
Absolutely.
That's what I put my faith in.
Yep.
So I don't put my faith in man per se.
Nope.
I put my faith in the Most High. He gonna do what he feels is best for me, and that's what I'm gonna ride with. So what I'm doing right now, I'm actually putting Real Deals contact info in the private chat, so that one of you or both of you can reach out to him and answer any questions he may have.
Okay.
I'm not getting anything on a chat or anything because I'm not getting any of the video of any of this. I'm hoping y'all still have my smiling face on, but I'm looking at a blank.
I got it. I got it in the chat. I will reach out to him as soon as possible. It's already almost 11 o'clock my time, but I'll either tomorrow or next week I will give him a shout and just answer any question he's got. So
Yeah, and Jason, I'm not sure. Let me see. I don't think I have any contact info on him. But he does have a YouTube channel. I don't have any information for him. He does have a YouTube channel, and you can reach him through there. Jason, if you're still in here, type 357 fam in the chat so it'll drop your link. And then I'll actually go over here myself. And let me see. Go to channel. All right. He's actually a veteran.
excellent. And it's GOA proudly employs a lot of veterans. Our North Carolina director, Andy Stevens, is a veteran. Regional director Ian Graham is a veteran. We're so grateful for the veterans that work for GOA and honestly volunteer for GOA. It's just so proud to work for those.
Jennifer's a veteran.
Jennifer Lewis in our admin department. Yeah, just heroes.
Ian Graham.
Yeah, so I would like to, when we get through here, we're fixing to shut down for the night. I'm going to have you guys stay on when we go backstage. I'm going to talk to you about linking up with Joe and getting linked up with her and some other people so I can start getting more involved out there. And
Absolutely.
But I appreciate everybody that came through tonight. Appreciate the questions and the interactions. Even if you was coming in with your guns on, swinging. Appreciate everybody, man. Love y'all. And we definitely gonna catch y'all next week. Hopefully we'll have somebody else dope for y'all next week. Y'all be safe out there, be blessed, stay dangerous. Y'all want to give out any links, any information, contact info?
I just want to say, I just want to say, support the people that make this show possible.
You also said something that struck one with me. You said, "Stay dangerous."
Yeah.
Just remember, I heard a saying not long ago: if you're not capable of extreme violence, then you're not peaceful. You're harmless. I choose to be peaceful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna stay dangerous.
I like it.
I'm gonna be peaceful until I have to be dangerous.
And that's what I was getting at. I'm capable of extreme violence, but I choose.
My friend Justin, his mom called me her teddy bear. Because I'm a big cuddly teddy bear till you piss me off.
There you go.
But
you go to gunowners.org, gunowners.org, and sign up, please. You can find me at The Barefoot Defender, thebarefootdefender.com.
Yep. And I've got the GOA link pinned at the top of the chat, so y'all can go right there to them.
Excellent.
All right. You got any links? You need handles you want to put out there?
No, I think Steven's covered all GOA. We're on all of the social media platforms, and like I said, you can join at gunowners.org.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night. Like I said, stay dangerous. Deuces.